Mm.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Today it's like one of the interesting topic for me, which is and also like interesting and burning topic, which was the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Like we just rather than going into like more ethical concepts of who is good and who is bad, like why war is good and like this, we will go to an historical context and a judicial way of dealing with this issue, like who has what right and this kind of stuff, rather than making it more of a good or bad thing. So the concept, the land that we call it as Israel has usually has like two parts, like Judea and Israel, which was the present day Israel was divided into Judea and Israel, which you can trace it back all the way up to 3 3000 BC, I guess. Because see, Judaism, as we know, as we see today, is not the thing that exists in 3000 BC. It was just a conglomeration. Like it was basically a kind of local religion, and the monotheism that the Jews follow now is a gradual process of is a gradual process of inculcating into the people. The first thing was one of the Judean king named Hezekiah, who who codified all the mm, main aspects of Judaism. Means it's not like he codified the scripture. He codified the way of worship and these kind of things, and he basically created substance and salience to the Jews. Substance means things that will make you a Jew, and salience means things that will not make you a Jew. For example, eating pork. Jews will not eat pork, no matter what, like which kind of Jewish sect you take, they will not eat pork. That was standardized during the Hezekiah time. Now, let's go to the present world, Palestine. Now, most of the people will say Palestinian movement is an Arab movement. The first problem with this is there was no sound P in Arab. So whenever you actually see the protests that are happening in Palestine and Jordan, they don't call it Palestine, they call it Palestine. They don't spell Pa. The word Palestine comes from a Bronze Age tribe named Palashut. In 1177 BC, there was an invasion of sea people. Uh, uh, there was a contact or like destruction of. It's called Bronze Age collapse. You can see that it's a very broad concept where the sea people, the seafaring people, attacked all the Mediterranean civilizations. Greeks, Egyptians recorded it, and the rest of the civilization perished. Now the Palashut, now the term Palestine came from Palashut. Palestine, the word means in Israel invader, the one who invades. Now, how the Israelites differentiate themselves from the Palestinians means Palestinians live on lowlands, like basically during the coast, whereas Jerusalem, as you see now, is a kind of highland place, means the place that was relatively high when compared to the land that the people of Palashut live. They call these people as invaders, and they differentiate themselves from eating pork. Like there are many differentiating factors, but one of the main thing was the people from the lowlands eat copious amounts of pork, which was not done by the Jews. So this implies that those are two different people. Those are not the same people. So so fast forward when you come to like uh, first century AD, when I think it was Trebonian, no, not Trebonian, Trajan, the Roman emperor, there was a Jewish revolt in the present day Israel and Judea. Sushma asked a question. Palestinian tribes are from outside. You mean? No, no. I'm not saying Palestinian tribes are from outside. The word Palestine comes from that. There is no word. There is no description of Palestine after Roman conquest and before 1947. Palestine. The word Palestine itself is a colonial construct. Like people will say that Israel is a colonial construct. The word itself is a colonial construct that was formed after 1947. See, After 1947, the word Palestine came in Western media only. Till 1967, even the people who are living in the present day Palestine doesn't call themselves Palestinians. They call themselves Arabs only. And the Kingdom of Jordan want to annex that. And after 1967 war, when Israeli forces concretely defeated the Arab coalition, then they came up with this notion that there is a Palestinian country. Yeah, I hope this made Sushma's doubt clear. Coming to the Roman conquest of mm, Judea, there was like three revolts of Jewish tribes in the place of Israel, Judea, the present day Israel and Judea. And the Romans doesn't want to repeat this conquest. After the third time, they destroyed the Jewish temple, and during that time they named that land as Palestine in order to humiliate the Jews. It's like erasing their history, making naming the people after their enemies is like the biggest insult. So the Romans purposefully did that, and that's for a very short period of time. Like after Trajan, Hadrian, like it was around like it didn't even last for 300 years. Like it just started like 150 or like 200 years, and then again the concept of Israel came back. So this is the only short period of time where the state named Palestine exists. That's because of the Roman conquest. So when you come to 700 AD, there was an what do you call? There is this saying that Prophet Muhammad came on horse to Jerusalem, and the present day Al-Aqsa Mosque is the place where he landed and where he received revelations from the angel. So most the Arabs consider it to be sacred, and they invaded that place in around like 750 or 760 AD. No, no, I think it was 800 AD. During that time, and they conquered the present day Israel. And from that day onwards till 1947, there is no mention of the name Palestine, even by the Arabs, even by the Ottomans, Mongols, like any of the tribes. You cannot even name a single general, like single poet, or some single significant person that called himself Palestinian. Like there is no poet, there is no general that called Palestinian. Even the Ottomans didn't mention the name Palestine anywhere, because for them it was all come under the district of Jerusalem. So fast forward 1947, and it's not like there was no Jewish people. The Jews as people existed in the place named Israel for a very very long time. Sushma was asking something. So where Arabs and Jews coexisted back then without any issues? No, no, not without any issues. There was a lot of issues, but they coexisted. Just like in Europe, the Jews and Christians have a lot of issue. Still, they coexisted. There was a lot of pogroms against the Jews. Like the anti-Semitism that you see in Europe can be seen in here the present day during the Ottoman Empire as well. Like it was not less, not more. See, I think after 1800, the anti-Semitism in Europe increased a lot and reached peak in World War II. Whereas in the Ottoman Empire, it stayed almost constant. The Star of David that Hitler used to identify Jews initially comes from Iran. In Iran, the Jews were forced to wear that Star of David in order to identify, like separate them from the society. And you can see all kinds of discriminations being imposed on the Jews. For example, like they are not allowed to drink the water from the same well as that of Arabs or the Muslims. Uh, like there will be a lot of restrictions. Depends on the places. Like for example, if you see in Spain, there will be less of a prosecution. Whereas if you see from Morocco to Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and the present day Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, these places, there used to be like huge pogroms where there will be killing of the Jews and their what do you call confiscation of their property. So till 1947, there was no Jewish state, and also there was a significant population of Jews in the present day Israel, Palestine, and West Bank. Jordan to some extent, and also there is a huge population of Jews in Iran, like all the way from Morocco to Iran. There used to be a huge population of Jews comparable to Europe, like not as much as Europe, but it's like, yeah, we can compare them. Now, what happened in 1947 is a process that was in motion from 1890s, I guess, like during 1850s to 1890s. There was this Zionist movement, which basically says that Jews need their own state. No, one of the item of those Zionists is Jews need their own state. It's not Israel. Israel is one of the proposals. There was many other proposals, and this got like amplified during 1907 Russian programs. In Russian program, I think, yeah, 1907, I guess. In Russian programs, there was almost like 350,000 Jews were killed in all the Russian Empire, which like triggered a reaction in Jews all over the world, telling that we need a country as soon as possible. And this was even accelerated during World War One. But due to the shocking effect of World War One on the European countries, this issue was pushed aside. And during that time also, like most of like few of the Jews predicted the mood in the Europe and started moving to Israel. Now, what happened in this time was basically Ottoman Empire, which was very much weakened during the World War One, like it basically collapsed, and the Turks have no control over this land, and it was split into many countries by the British and French colonialism. Yeah, Sushma was asking something. Yeah, let's look at it. Why was Jews targeted in Russia? Like it was anti-Semitism. See, this is a very big issue. Why Jews were targeted? There are many religious reasons. There are many economic reasons. Jews were hated by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam has the same uh, source. Now, when Christianity came, the Jews rejected Jesus as their prophet, and when Islam came, the Jews rejected Muhammad as their prophet. So this created an enmity between Jews and the people that are coming next. So this got amplified. Like there are many issues. Like it is a very big issue. Like you can assume that both Muslims and Christians have a very large anti-Semitic problem. Like I will emphasize that. I'll show you why it was so much anti-Semitism. You know Bombay attacks, right? Like 26/11 attacks. Sushma, are
Yeah,
you there?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What are the like? There are 4 places that were attacked. Like if you see, I'll just show.
Also, meanwhile, like Gokula is also asking about
Yeah, I'll
in the
clear
chat.
you and then
Yeah,
places.
it's similar. It's a similar question. I think you can answer both the questions at
Why
the
were
time.
Jews
So,
subjugated to the discrimination during ancient and medieval time? Uh,
yeah, I think both are similar.
yeah, ancient time, the Christians have this notion that Judas who betrayed Jesus is a Jew, and it was not Romans who killed Jesus, but it was because of the betrayal of the Jews that Jesus was killed. This is one of the stream of thought in Christianity, and also there uh, there is kind of there is a stream of thought in Islam where Prophet Muhammad was poisoned by a Jewish lady. So in that way, there is an enmity between the religions of both Abrahamic religions toward the Jews, and this is a starting point, and it got like accelerated because usually money lending was banned in both Christianity and Islam, but it was not
Mm.
in Judaism. So Jews used to accumulate more wealth and they lend the money. So usually, the person who lends the money will be hated by the community because he will be the one who is asking more. So we can raise telling that he is a Jew and we can create a program around the villagers telling that he's doing such and such kind of things and kill that Jew, and the entire debt will be cleared. And this is one of the reasons. There are multiple reasons. I'm telling these are probably two of the main reasons. I'll tell you what, like how deep this hatred was. Attack places. Yeah. Yeah, I will show you it. Yeah, you can see the building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Mumbai attacks, like there are 4 places that were attacked. One was the Taj Hotel. Another one was like Shivaji Chhatrapati Terminal. Another was like famous restaurant. Like what's the name of the restaurant? I didn't remember. But it was like the hotspot of Bombay. Now this looks like an apartment, right? Hello?
Tarun?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this looks like just normal apartment, right? There's nothing special about this building. Now, what is special about this building is it was the only place in entire subcontinent where a synagogue was there. Synagogue was basically a Jewish priest. So this is the only place in Mumbai. How many Indians know this? Almost no
Yeah,
one.
I think Gokul shared me this story. Gokul, do you remember?
Yes, Sushma, actually. Yeah, I went to Mumbai. I mean, I went to one of the like Jewish community hotel there. So there I met one of the victims, and he told how this entire, Mumbai attack was planned. And I got a very different perspective from him. Actually, they were targeted. It is not like the attack was random.
Random, yeah. This
They
was
had,
targeted actually.
yeah, there was a targeted attack on the Jewish community. Their, and their few, and not the entire community, but they wanted to target some influential leaders within the Jewish community in India, and they wanted to take them down. Yeah, of course.
It's not like influential. It's like he's the priest. Like there was only one priest. I don't know what they call in the priest in Jewish thing, but he's a priest of the temple. Like he is the one who usually blesses the Jews. Like if you take Indians, there will be almost like certainly like around like 3,000 Jews. I guess that's nothing more. Despite of that, they targeted this place just because the anti-Semitism was so rooted. Like they think it is just good to kill Jews. That's it. Nothing more.
Okay.
Like it will give them that what you call in Punyam Telugu English language.
Sense of
Kind of satisfaction. Like it's a good thing. Like it's like giving
Holy
sacrificing a sheep. Yeah.
Holy war.
Yeah,
What did
holy
you say,
war.
Gokul?
Yeah, holy war. Yeah, jihad.
Yeah.
Uh,
This exists. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my question was this anti-Semitism. I mean, the root of this cause was religious. Do you feel that it was religious, or it is something like what we find in other similar issues like caste, for example? There was an economic or cultural issue, and to substantiate that, all these stories were cooked up like the Jews hated,
No.
Jesus, the Jews hated Muhammad. All these were cooked up to, or it is the other way.
No, it is the other way. Actually, the base reason was religious reason, and the rest of the things that are cooked up. Like in one phase, they'll find one reason to kill Jews. For example, in the medieval phase, when there used to be a lot of dead bodies due to Black Death, and the Jews were blamed for poisoning the wells. That they believed that the Jews poisoned the wells, so that's why they are dying of the disease. Like Jews were scapegoated, basically.
What?
Yeah, I get that. So, yeah.
So
Because
this was the main reason, and that became like a one of the path to get things done.
Okay.
Tarun, can you come again? I did not get you. Like, what did you say?
The religious hatred was the base thing.
Okay.
And the religious hatred was not always fashionable in all times. Like for example, in the medieval period, there used to be huge death due to Black Death. Like there is huge death toll due to the disease.
Mm.
So whenever there is a huge death toll, they used to blame
Mm.
Jews for poisoning the
Okay.
wells.
Mhm.
And also, like the Jews have this tradition to be very cleanly whenever they pray.
Mm.
So the other people who are less cleanly are more likely to get disease. And the
Okay.
more religious the Jew is, the more he cleans, and less
Okay.
likely he will be affected by the
Ev-
disease.
yeah. Mm.
So that also became like a rolling factor.
Reason. Mm.
Yeah. Aindavi is asking something. I think Christian believe Jews had killed. That's why there is much hatred for towards Jews. Yeah, initially that was the case. Like initially that's how it started. The even the church also supported it. The Roman church also supported it for a very long time, and I think it didn't retrieve it till 1945, I guess. After after the World War ended, only he like the church formally apologized in 1991 for blaming the Jews. Like it kept it almost like 2000 years. Yeah, that is one of the reason. And also the Islam hatred was very uh, also started as this kind of D-side. Like D-side is basically killing God, and it slowly, gradually changed into many things. Now you can see that in the form of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Yeah. Let's come to 1945 after World War II. Uh, Now the thing, yeah, well, I was on 1918. Slowly, few rich Jewish communities started moving towards Israel. Now, what happened during that time was the Ottoman Empire was very weak, and it was confined only for Turkey. And the places like Lebanon, Syria, and the Jordan, Saudi Arabia, these are under British or French control. And those were like the district magistrates, like you see in India, the district magistrates were kept like that only. On top of that, the French and British bureaucracy ruled. So when the Jews came to the present day Israel, they bought the land.
Mm.
They bought the land because they are rich, and they started like farming there.
Mm.
And this is one sect of the Jews. There are Jews already there in the Israel as well. There was like almost like 5 million Jews in the Israel. And these Jews started on also buying the land and making it much more prosperous. Now imagine this scenario. There is this community that is making the desert prosperous and employing few people, few Muslims, let's say. The Muslims are getting a constant income from these employees. Now these Muslims who are getting the constant money, they will not listen to their feudal lords, right? During that time, Ottoman Empire was just a feudal confederacy. Now, in order for the feudal lord to get his control over their subject, they started again programs on the Jews, telling that the Jews came and occupied. So there was a programs from 1918 to 1945 as well. Like in one program, I think in 1935, it killed almost like 8,000 Jews in the present day Israel. So the programs are always continuing. Just give me a minute. So there were programs during 1918 and 1945. I think 1947 in the present day Israel as well. So after World War II, what happened was like basically uh, the anti-Semitism reached such a peak in Europe that the Europeans recognized that like it is a disease that is killing them. So the British government granted or the allies granted, it's not allies, like after UN formation, like most of the nation, the UN granted Israel. Now the Israel that they granted was not the present day Israel. Is the Israel that they granted was Israel, Jordan, West Bank, and Palestine, and some part of Lebanon. Now, immediately when 1947 it was granted, the Hashemite kings, the Hashemites who considered themselves as the descendants of Prophet Muhammad, said that they are going to go to war with Israel if they are allowed all the way, this entire land. and they said that they want their own kingdom, like east of Jordan River. Like the land east of Jordan River should come under Hashemite rule. Now Hashemite and Saudi, this rivalry is like separate. The thing was, the Souths defeated the Hashemites, who used to rule the eastern, like western part of the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, and they were pushed north. So when they reached north, the present day Jordan, they settled there, and they said they want their kingdom there. Now that became Jordan, the present day Jordan. The remaining now the remaining part was Israel, West Bank, and Palestine, the present day Gaza. Now the neighboring Muslim countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Iran and Iraq.
Tarun?
Yeah.
So you said basically the Israel was granted because there were so many programs against them, connected against them. Is it only to ensure their security?
No, I said like there is a stream of thought that said they want an independent Jewish state all the way up to 1890. Now this became uh, like the peak point
Some part.
where they cannot
Okay.
tolerate anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there was a significant Jewish population. It's not like there are only Muslims in the present day Israel. Like it was like almost like 60-40%. 60% Jews and 40% like Arab, these things. Now, coming to 1947, the entire like Muslim nations, like except for Iran, I guess Iran didn't declare war. Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and entire Muslim countries declared war on Israel and asked the Muslim populations to move out of the Israel so that they can bomb the Israel, which is of only Jews. The Arab populations who believed that moved out of Israel, believing that the Arab nations will defeat Israel and they can come to their land again. And surprisingly, Israel defeated all Arab nations with the help of America. I mean, it's not even a fight. Like the Arab nations, like with their own overconfidence, like went on fight with Israel, and Israel defeated them. Now the people who migrated from Israel are the present day West Bank and Palestinian refugees.
Okay.
So Israel doesn't want to take these refugees for the most part because they are the one who instigated the war.
Mm.
Now, if you call them into the country, they will be potential harm to the country they established. There is always a stream of thought in the people who founded Israel. Like I think it was David Ben Gurion, who was the first prime minister. From David Ben Gurion to Benjamin Netanyahu, the present day prime minister, there was always a stream. It was always guaranteed that the Israel should be a Jewish majority nation.
Mm.
It should not be whatever may be. And during this 1947, because of the Islamic Jew hatred, all the nations that went to war, Iraq, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and every other nation started prosecuting Jews in their own country and calling them supporters of Israel. So Israel, in order to protect their Jewish population, uplifted all the refugees in present day Iran, Afghanistan, almost like all the nations in the world, and brought them back to Israel and made them citizens, which even strengthened the Jewish population that was already present there. Now, this is the story of the formation of Israel. With these wars, the present day Israel was formed, and it includes both West Bank and Gaza Strip. And all the Muslim nation, like all the Muslims who moved out of that place, were settled in refugee camps in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and Egypt, at the present day Sinai Peninsula. And yeah, I'm going to like stop here and like ask any questions, like if you have any, because it was a limit of 40 minutes meeting. Like if we want to continue, I can send you another link, but There
I
was only
think
5 minutes. Like you can ask some.
yeah,
thing.
I think we can continue with another link.
Yeah, but it was 5 minutes. Okay. Uh, yeah.
Gokul and Hindley, is it okay for you? I mean, we are going to extend this
Yeah, sure,
meeting.
sure, fine with me.
Yeah, I will stop this recording now and I'll send you a link. Thank you. Yeah, till now we discussed about the formation of the state of the Israel and the wars involved in the formation and how and what land is allocated to Israel initially and what it got at the end of 1947 war. From 1947 to 1967, there was a relative peace in the uh, Israeli conflict, because not because of the Muslim nations are not fighting with Israel, because Israel has very powerful American backing, and Soviet Union was also not opposing Israel. It didn't support Israel, but it didn't oppose, like it didn't fund the Muslim states, largely because even in the Gulf states that we see, there is an US bloc and there was an Russian bloc. The Russian bloc was headed by Egypt. Egypt became a secular state, I think in 1947 itself, until Abdul Gamal Nazar took over. Till 1967, it remained a secular state only, and it became a base for Soviet operations in the Gulf. Now, the American-backed Iran, which was ruled by Shah, Shah dynasty, I
American
don't
back.
know his name, till 1979, he was it was very strong base for USA. The present day US and American relations were not at all comparable to the relations before 1971, because Iran was considered as a base of America only. It was more like what Britain is to America. That's the same relation that Iran has with America till Shah is in power. So in 1967, when Soviet Union got relatively weakened because of Khrushchev's and Brezhnev's liberal policy, and it cannot project its power, Abdul Gamal Nazar want to establish his own kind of dominance as the leader of Muslim nations. Our present day oil IOCL, like the oil nations that we see today. So, see, you can see the trend in almost from 1947 to 19 uh, present day. Whichever nation will oppose Israel will be seen with high regard by almost all the Muslim population in the world, right? Like even today it is true. Whichever nation will oppose Israel will be seen with high regard by all the people, all the Muslim population in the world. Yeah, Google, you're speaking something. Yeah, and also uh, Abdul Gamal Nazar opposition to Israel also coincides with his opposition to the American support, and he got backing from the Soviet Union. So in 1967, he tried to again the Arab nations tried to invade the Israel, but the problem was, even though the Egyptians has the Soviet ammunition, they didn't got that Soviet organization ability or the way to lead the armies. So Israel easily defeated this
Arab Arab coalitions.
Arab coalition, and it it almost gave Gaza, like it almost occupied Sinai and Gaza. The Sinai Peninsula that we see was occupied by Israel after 1967 war, but it gave up that Sinai and Gaza as well in order to get peace from Egyptians. That's why you see from 1967 to present day, the Egyptians never attacked Israel after that. Even though publicly they oppose Israel, but they didn't allow any military opposition. And even today, they don't take Gaza refugees into Egypt. So even though on the face they may say that we oppose Israel, but they don't take any action because of 1967 treaty. Now, in the two important things that happened, just give me a minute. Yeah. Now, when Abdul Gamal Nazar was when Abdul Gamal Nazar was defeated, and Iran was not willing to take the lead to attack Israel, then came Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, who came to power in Iraq, saw Iraq as a leader of Arab nations. So you can see the pattern that there was two things that Saddam Hussein has clarity on. One, to annex Kuwait. Second, to destroy Israel. So in 1973, there was a third Arab coalition that was mostly, I think, led by Iraq, and Egypt kind of participated in a like it didn't fully participate, and it was called the Yom Kippur War because it happened in the month of Yom Kippur. Like Muslims will have Ramzan and Jews will have Yom Kippur, the equivalent. And after this also, the Israelis defeated the Arab coalition, and I think during this time they gave up West Bank. Now, for the Palestinian refugees. Now, during this time, the Palestinian refugees moved from their refugee camp to West Bank and Gaza Strip. The present-day Palestine that you see came during that time. Now, after 1973 war, there was almost like no coalitions that are attacking Israel. Yeah.
See, in the war you mentioned, was it Israel? Which one, or was it Iran? Sorry, was it Iraq?
No, it was Israel who won the war.
Then why did it still give the West Bank and all these to refugees?
Because there was even the countries like Jordan, Lebanon, and Egypt that are fighting Israel are fighting them because there is a large Palestinian, like the Arab population, the Palestinian population that are living in Jordan. Like you don't understand how much this thing trouble they are causing. In Jordan, they rebelled against the monarch, who is the direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad. And they want
these refugees. These refugees fought against the monarch.
They bought kind of civil war in Jordan, and you know who crushed that civil war? It was Muhammad Yahya Khan, Pakistani president at that time.
Oh.
Jordanians bought Pakistanis, and I think Yahya Khan killed almost like 25,000 Palestinians in that crushing that revolt. There was one crushing that revolt, and in Lebanon. See, Lebanon was a interesting case because from 1920 to till now, there was no census in Lebanon. Lebanon was created by the French in order to create a Christian majority country in Middle East.
Okay.
Now in Lebanon, when it formed its constitution, its president should be Christian, prime minister should be Sunni Muslim, speaker should be Shia Muslim. That's how they designed the constitution.
Okay.
Now the Muslim population basically eradicated the Christian population in many civil wars. Now there was a fight between the Sunni and Shia population. When the Palestinian refugees were injected into the Lebanon, it brought Sunni majority in Lebanon, which again caused civil war between Shias and Sunnis. Now the Shia majority doesn't want the Palestinian refugees because that will tilt the demographic change, like the demography of the Lebanon. So they don't want Palestinian refugee. So they came to an agreement telling that we will give this land, and Israel want peace, and they are happy to give
Okay.
this land so that the
Okay.
Palestinians may come and settle there.
Hmm.
So this was the thing that happened in 1973. This was the treaty that happened in 1973. Now,
Okay.
remember that now the Arab nations are opposing Israel just for Jew hatred. They have no love for Palestinian people or the present day Palestinian people.
Okay.
Another example was when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, the Palestinian population in the Kuwait supported the invasion of Saddam Hussein, despite all the Arab nations opposing it. All the Arab nations, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and everything opposed the invasion of Kuwait. So, after defeating Saddam Hussein, the entire Palestinian population were kicked out of Kuwait. They are always seen as traitors by all the Arab nations. That's why you see no Arab nation is willing to take the Palestinian population today.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons. There are other reasons as well. That's one of the reasons why they are not willing to take the Palestinian population, because it's a very radicalized society. Let's say if you take the Palestinian population thinking that they'll all be integrated into the society, the population of Palestine was so radicalized, it eventually will produce the terrorists, no matter what. This is what the Arab nations think of the Palestinians. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're audible.
just give me a minute. Yeah. Now, after 1973 war, you don't see a direct attack of Arab nations on Israel. Like almost, like I guess so. There was no war, but you can see the intifadas happening. Intifada is basically kind of skirmishes. Intifada.
Okay.
Intifada is basically kind of skirmishes that are happening, like kind of terrorist attacks, but very large scale terrorist attacks. In terrorist attack, you see like 10 or 20 terrorists attacking. Here, it's not like it's like 300 or 400 people attacking. So there is a constant state of intifada between Israel and West Bank and Palestine. Now, in 1973, an Islamic revolution happened in Iran, which dethroned the Shah. Now, the revolution that called itself an Islamic revolution want to be the leader of the Muslims. So, first thing what they will do, they will try to attack Israel.
Yeah.
So, they started like supporting the present day Hamas, which is a Sunni terrorist organization. Despite of Iran being the Shia, they supported it. And there was another terrorist organization in Lebanon, which is called Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a Shia terrorist organization that actually brought victory to the Shia population in Lebanon.
Okay.
There was, I said that there was a Sunni Shia conflict.
Yeah.
Now this Hezbollah organization tilted that balance and brought Shia victory. Now Lebanon is almost Shia majority, and there was no census, but it was accepted almost. There was Shia majority. Now, fast forward to 2005. I'm skipping many things like Yasser Arafat. Like I'll ask them in like questions when I'm explaining some questions. Now, coming back to 2005, because of this constant state of intifada and Israel having a kind of liberal government, and Bush wanted to almost like end this conflict. Like he wanted to be the one who ended this conflict. So he told the Israel to withdraw all the troops in Gaza Strip, the present day Gaza Strip. And Israel withdrew everything, including the dead bodies. The dead bodies that are buried, the Jewish dead bodies that are buried in the Gaza Strip, were digged out and then brought back to Israel, the present day Israel. And they left Gaza Strip without like Jew free, Judenrat. Judenrat is basically German for Jew free. This was a phrase that was coined by Hitler. So even after that, even after bringing like every Jew out of Gaza, they started like building tunnels. After that, they started building tunnels because there is no Israel presence in the Gaza. The present day tunnels that we see has started
What
construction
is
during
that?
that time.
Tanas.
Huh?
Tanas. What did you say? Building what?
Tunnels
Tunnels.
to store weapons and like for communication.
Okay.
Those are started building from 2005 because there was no Israeli military presence.
Hmm.
Now, 2007, Hamas, which used to be a terrorist organization, came into politics because there was no military presence. When Israel was there, Hamas was classified as a terrorist organization only. Now, when Hamas moved out, when Israel moved out and gave it autonomy, Hamas came out of its hide and proclaimed itself as a political organization. Now, there are two parties in Gaza and West Bank. One was Palestinian Liberation Organization. Second one was Hamas. In 2007, there was an election. In the election in West Bank, PLA won, which is Palestinian Liberation Organization, and in Gaza, Hamas won. Now, total when you combine both Gaza and West Bank, PLA won total seats. Now Hamas wants power, so they killed all the PLA organization members in Gaza and declared Gaza as kind of separate nation and proclaimed Hamas as its government. Are you following?
Yeah.
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 Now, from that state onwards, it became like a war between Gaza and Israel. Hamas started importing its rockets from Iran. And yeah.
So see, basically, you said that if it is combined Gaza and West Bank together, it's PLO which won. But when they were killed again by the Hamas, was there no opposition within the civilians? Like, how did they?
No.
Were there no?
See, the problem I'm telling was like you understand Gazan civilians as Indian civilians or American civilians or any kind of civilized civilians. By that time, the Gazan civilians was extremely radicalized.
Okay.
And even in the Gazan civilians also, there was a split between PLA and Hamas.
Okay.
So these are war-torn places. These are not like peace places that you think as cities or civilizations. Now, for them, war is a constant state of thing. Whoever wins is the strong one. So he is what you call. He is ordained by the God to rule. That's it. The strong must rule, not the one who lost. So, and also like Hamas is a very powerful terrorist organization. Like they have a lot of weapons in order to crush the any opposition. And after that, like Hamas started importing the Iranian weapons illegally. Like everyone know it was made in Iran only, but it was not official. So they started like bombing Israel randomly. It's not like they targeted something. They just fire rockets and expect them to hit. Now Israel, as a defense, created this system named Iron Dome. Iron Dome is basically it fires missiles towards a random rocket that is coming and hit it in air only. Now the problem is there is an economic problem with this because an average Iranian missile costs almost like $20,000, and one Iron Dome missile will cost $500,000. So if you fire 400 rockets, there is a lot of economic imbalance in intercepting. So means there will be a point where Israel cannot intercept everything and some attack will happen. So Israel started like preemptively neutralizing some terrorist outfits in Gaza.
Okay.
These are not like full scale invasions. These are like operations. Now there was this notion that Israel occupied Israel occupied Gaza or some this kind of crazy notion. But it was, in what way you can call it an occupation when there is still an operation? Like it's operations were very specific, and the populations were beforehand send message that we are hitting this target, and you have to move civilians out of it. And Hamas deliberately put their rockets and missiles in hospitals and kindergartens. So whenever Israel hit them, they can proclaim that Israel is killing children.
Okay.
And get sympathy.
Okay. So basically a portrayal of.
Now, this continued all the way up to 2016. It's a constant state of like intifada, constant state of terrorist attacks. Now, after 2016, what happened? Till 2016, US President Obama always wants a two-state solution. And Jerusalem, he wants Jerusalem to be the combined capital.
Okay.
And it was like the Arab countries kind of dragged it rather than agreeing for it, expecting they can get more land.
Okay.
So after 2016, when Trump came, he made sure that the two-state solution is not possible and declared Jerusalem as capital of Israel. And started preparing these Abraham Accords. Abraham Accords was basically, you can have an economic relation with Israel if you give up. You don't have to give up an international support for Palestinians, but you should give up all the economic and weapons export. And all the nations who always consider Palestinians as headache started doing it. Saudi Arabia did that, Jordan did that. Now, except for the countries who are under influence of Iran, all the nations accepted for it. And after like 2018 or 2000, I think it was like 2000. Yeah, after these Abraham Accords were put into motion, Israel allowed Gazan civilians to work as contract workers in Israel. Means they can cross the border. They'll have a passport and they can cross the border, work in Israel, took salary and go to their home. Now, do you remember the thing that happened during the before 1947? There used to be these Jewish farmers or Jewish landholders who used to give money to Muslims and put them to work.
Yeah, employment. You said,
which disturbed the feudal structure. Now that is what exactly done by Israel again. Now the employees who like the workers coming from Gaza to Israel are living much better life in Gaza compared to other people.
Okay.
Right? Now this will create an incentive for others also to join this workforce.
Yeah.
Now in order to destroy that, Hamas planned this October 7th attack. Now the information for Hamas were given by the workers who are coming and working in Israel. They like gave plans like what commander will be here and what is the resting time for them and what are the safe houses that they will go if there was a terrorist attack and these kind of things. And like I'll stop here telling a reason for October 7th. Like you can ask questions or like we can start discussion. Because I guess you will be having doubts.
Yeah. Okay. So I had a completely different opinion till now because I was thinking.
You can tell that like
No. I know before this discussion I was having a different opinion. Like I had, I was thinking the Arabs were innocent and the Israel was constantly doing to these two Arabs. And
I'll understand why you are having that opinion, because you consider all the you consider the people in Arab or the people living in Palestine or Egypt just like Indians. They are like normal people like us. But you have to. That's why I said like you should go and visit other places to understand the kind of mentality that people will be having. Like yeah.
Okay. So my I have two questions here. See, firstly, what do you think can be the at least, if not the best solution, it can be at least a solution for time being. And also how far the international organizations are important here, because be it the October 7th attack or retaliation attack by the Israel, we are seeing the huge fatalities, and we see the food and water crisis the Palestinians are facing. So because of the act of FE group like Hamas, is it is it okay for all of the Palestinians to suffer without food and water? So I just want to ask these two questions.
Yeah, I'll talk about about this war. It is a kind of modern problem only. Like people think the war that is happening Israel Palestine is kind of a brutal war, which it is not. I'm saying the death that you have seen is nothing compared to the wars that are fought till now. Yes, that war is bad, and yes, it is like there is a huge casualties in the Gazan side, but that's how the war is. There is no solution. Like either you have now the Israelis see no solution except for Israel completely de-radicalizing the Gaza and West Bank population, which will take almost like 10 to 15 years because it was injected into their education system to hate Jews. So it take like 10 or 15 years to remove that. As far as the international organizations are concerned, I don't think they have a role to play here because they don't have a power without America. America funds them. America, all the UN funding, all the UN, actual power comes from America. It doesn't come from any other nation, not Russia or not China. The military presence and everything comes from the American nation, America only. So if America, as long as America supports Israel, there will be no international kind of aid or something coming from Gazan people. And what's the first question that you asked, Sushma? I just cannot.
Hello.
Yeah. You asked that first question. What about?
Yeah. First question I asked was what can be the solution?
Solution now after October. See, what I think as a solution, it doesn't make sense. First of all, I'll tell you the kind of position the Israelis are in. The Israelis are not in a position now to negotiate. They want to annihilate Hamas and they want to de-radicalize Gaza. And they will not listen to any of the nations except for America, which I'm pretty sure will not tell. Even if I don't think even if Americans tell, they have their own plans. The Israelis have their own plans. Now, as far as the Gazan people are concerned, they have to give up this hope of again reconquering Israel.
Okay.
They should learn to coexist with Jews. If they keep on fighting like this issue will brew more and more. Because the Gazan people are supporting terrorist organization and Israel is an democratically elected government.
Is undemocratically. What did you say?
Democratically elected government. Now the government may change. The Israeli government, if the people don't like, will change. It is not in the case of Gazans. Gazans gave a veto to terrorist organization, and now they are facing the consequences. And Gokul is asking something. What is the position of Palestinian Authority in Israeli-Hamas conflict? They are opposing Israel publicly, but they are happy internally because Hamas is being destroyed.
Okay.
The problem with the PLA was like even in West Bank, it's kind of the PLA cannot deal with the radicalized population living in West Bank itself. That's why you see all the PLA authorities, like the higher ups, will be living in Qatar. You don't see most of the PLA organization living in West Bank. They'll be living in Qatar because they know it was so radicalized, West Bank, there will be one terrorist organization every month and they may attack PLA. So they want to, it's like they don't want to get into this thing. But they want the sympathy from, but they want sympathy from international community because aid will come from them. I think it was Mahmoud Abbas, I think the Prime Minister. But there is no opposition party in Israel right now. No. There is opposition party, but it doesn't have enough seats in. No, there is. See, Israel is a proper democracy, just like India. There are two parties. One is very conservative, one is very liberal. Now, the conservative party was headed by Netanyahu. Now it was in power. Liberal party, even the liberal party doesn't oppose the view of Netanyahu going to war, but oppose Netanyahu for bringing situation here, for allowing the deaths of 2,000 Israelis on October 7th. There is an opposition for Netanyahu as well. But the problem is, I'll tell you what, like the opposition, like most of the political opposition in India, look for Western validation. They go into international community and say India is happening like this and like this. But Israel is not like. Even though there is an opposition, they'll keep inside Israel only. Israel will speak as a one. There will be opposition in Israel, but it will be inside the Israel only. They'll discuss in their own Senate, not outside.
So
Yeah.
why is that basically the America? We know that it is a hypocrite state, hypocrite country, but when so many countries are opposing, taking a stand against Israel, like how can America still try to manage itself while supporting Israel?
The role is reverse. Because America is supporting, the remaining states are opposing. It's not
Okay.
because the remaining states are opposing, America is supporting. The American support comes from basically from their internal politics, because the Jewish lobby inside America unilaterally supports Democrats. The New York Jewish lobby, which is like the very rich lobby.
What? Tarun, please come in.
Because the New York Jews, who are like the richest community, one of the richest community, unilaterally support the Democrats. They don't want to lose that support.
Okay.
And also, there is a huge population in USA which supports the state of Israel, not Jewish population, the Christian population in South. And also, they were obliged through agreement in 1945 to defend Israel. And it's not like a one-way street. Like Israel will give very, very valuable information to America. For example, the killing of Soleimani, Iranian general. Even though it's not pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that all the intel about Soleimani came from Mossad only, the Israeli agency. Okay. Otherwise, the Americans cannot hit such a precise target. They cannot know the location of the general such precisely. Only Soleimani was killed, right? Not even his guards. How do the Americans know such precise location? Which is like opposite side of the earth. Iran is almost like opposite side of America. So there was like a symbiosis relation, like they both go together. It's not like one is supporting one unilaterally. And Israel has like great defense technology as well. Like for example, Iron Dome. Yeah, Sushma, there was only 30 minutes left. Should we continue or should we go to another day?
Yeah, go to another.
Like, should we continue tomorrow or should we continue?
How many minutes left?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I think for 15 minutes we can go for another meeting.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send the invitation then. Let's stop recording. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Sushma, you can go on with the questions if you have any.
See, my first question is, when the Israel was attacked on October 7th, immediately India condemned the attack. You know, initially, India was supporting Israel, but you know, there is no clarity. I felt that there is no clarity within the Indian government itself, whom should we support and whom we should not, because however later on it again expressed its empathy with the Palestinians. So what is exactly the India stand? I'm not able to understand.
It's nothing. I don't think it's a good stand only. We don't have to do anything with it. Why we should get involved? See, first of all, supporting Palestinians has no benefit for us.
Okay.
Palestinians cannot give us anything. So, if we oppose Palestine and support Israel, there is a huge population in India that will come on street to create unrest and to create what you call to make the government support Palestine. So why brewing tensions in India when Israel is giving us weapons? So we'll take weapons. So that's it. We will just not vote, and the Israelis are also happy as long as we don't oppose them. The Israelis are happy. They even
So
said that
you're saying,
even in United Nations,
wait,
as long as India doesn't oppose Israel, Israel has no problem. It can abstain.
okay. So saying, let us not support Israel, and also let us not.
There is no point like supporting them. We will not be getting anything. We will not gain anything by supporting anyone. See, by supporting
You
Israel,
said
Israel
that.
will not
You
give us
said that.
extra weapons.
Yeah, I understand, but
Yeah.
you said something like creating unrest in India. You're saying if we go against Palestine, are you saying that there will be
Unrest in India, yeah.
unrest in India because from Muslims we will get opposition?
Opposition, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Which is like we are also not gaining anything from it by supporting Israel.
Yeah.
And the Israelis are also okay with that. It's not like they
Yeah.
want Indian support everywhere.
Okay. Also, one more thing is that like from somewhere I have also read that Benjamin Netanyahu is actually trying to accelerate this war and taking this as an advantage and opportunity just just for his personal gains, because there was unrest in Israel before this about some amendments he brought in judiciary or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just to secure his position out there, he is actually trying to divert this attention and
Okay,
bringing
I'll
this.
explain what the case
Yeah.
was. The case was usually like whatever the legislator make, judiciary has some say on that. Even in India, when we pass some laws, it should go according to the constitution. If something goes according to the constitution, then the judiciary can remove that, like basically oppose that, will not enforce it. But the state judiciary in Israel has a lot more powers than legislator, which is making legislator ineffective. Whatever the law they pass, someone will put a case in the judiciary and it will take a long time to get it enforced. And also, Israel doesn't have a formal constitution like India. So it entirely depends on like the judges, the kind of judgment they give, which became like a judicial tyranny. This is the case of Netanyahu, telling that
But
we cannot do any work with this kind of judiciary, so we want reforms. So what the opposition is saying was basically Netanyahu want to expand into West Bank and Gaza without Israeli population support and want to nullify judiciary in this process so that he can have a free hand.
okay.
And I'm not saying Netanyahu is playing politics. I am saying Netanyahu is playing politics. But see, these are like kind of complex things because the Israelis are very sure that they should have gone to war, that they have no opposite view on this. They should have gone. They should have prevented this attack. So their problem is that Netanyahu didn't prevent this attack.
Okay.
He is kind of like loose on Gaza and West Bank,
Okay.
and didn't protect the Gazan life. I don't think. I am not sure whether Netanyahu will survive this political crisis because the Israelis will take their lives very seriously, the lives of their citizens very seriously. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 people, 3 people, or 2,000 people. For them, The primary duty of the government is to protect the citizens. The next, after that only, whether he is going to war or winning the war comes. So this election will decide whether Israelis are okay with Netanyahu or will be opposing Netanyahu. Yeah, Netanyahu definitely has his political aspirations. That I am sure. Netanyahu, from his beginning stages onwards, didn't believe in two-state solution.
Okay.
But what I'm saying was there are many politicians in Israel who believed the two-state solution, but it didn't happen. Netanyahu's point was till now it didn't happen, and we are constantly being attacked with no proper retaliation. Now we can say now he can publicly say we don't want a two-state solution. We just want to annihilate Hamas. Yeah. I hope it is clear. Like.
Yeah. But but there is also, I mean, another. There's also another view that because I have read that
Yeah. You can.
even the like the people who are in the armed forces also.
Yeah. They also.
The
See, I'm saying that. See, Israel is exact democracy, like any other country. There'll be people who will be opposing Netanyahu. There'll be people who are supporting Netanyahu.
Okay.
You can say like there are people in India who oppose the bombing of Balakot. Doesn't mean that they want to dethrone India, right?
Okay.
They have their opinion. Yes, it's just like the normal democracy. They have their opinion. But I'll give you another example, like the counter example. Find me a Gazan who is unhappy with Hamas.
Yeah, there are.
You don't find anyone because it's a dictatorship. Have you seen any video of Gazans opposing Hamas?
Because there is a, there
is
is
a
a control
dictatorship.
that won't come out.
It's like a dictatorship. They don't have any other opinion.
Okay. That's all from my side. Gokul, you have anything to
Yeah, actually, I mean, like initially, I mean, like in India, the opposition condemned, the attack by Israel on Palestine, right? So, but the government was quick to clarify that, you can't condemn a retaliation for a terrorist attack which we also face from Pakistan. So, what is the understanding of Congress? I mean, like they have been in power for nearly some around or 60 years, and they are also responsible for the formation of foreign policy on Israel policy. And I find their, comments on this issue too problematic.
Yeah, I'll tell you one example. During 1947 war, all nations sent a kind of request to Israel and Palestine. One of the countries supported it and other opposed it. Either Israel opposed it or Palestine opposed it. Only in Indian case, both Israel and Palestine opposed our recommendation. So Indians have no say in this conflict. All the thinking, they don't affect that much in the first place. So the Congress people, there are few Congress people who want to publicly support Palestine, and even the Communist Party, they want to publicly support the liberation of Palestine. But the problem is, we are insignificant in that. Like, we don't have any effect, first of all. So the Indians, even in the Indian government, it didn't take much what you call interest in that conflict. Condemnation or opposition or support, it is just a public statement. India doesn't supply any weapons to Israel. It buys weapons from Israel only, and that's the only connection that we have with that place. So there is no need for any government to go beyond that thing. India is just very conservative in this approach. I think it's a good approach also. We have no problem with whatever they do. We will not be affected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
And do you find parallels between the Zionist movement and some regionalist movement taking place in India?
With Israeli Palestine, yeah, people try to equate those two things, but it's not like that. It's like completely different thing. See, whether you like, see what the most of the people will not like to speak was, it was on the base of it, it is a religious conflict. It is
Mm.
Muslims versus Jews. On
Mm.
top of that, these all things come. Now, why would a Pakistani terrorist will kill some Jew in Mumbai? What he has done, there is no effect of those Jews in on Pakistan. They'll try to do it, and they'll find some kind of logical this thing, logical path in order to do that. Now they are saying Palestine occupation is an issue. If that issue was resolved, as I said, when Israel was asked to give up Jordan, they gave up Jordan. It became a Muslim majority country, and they kicked out all the Jews, and the Israel took them. But still, the war persisted. So the Israelis understand no matter what, the war will persist. They are coming for the extermination of Jews. So they now thought that okay, we don't care what the world thinks, we will go to war.
Yeah, I get it. Actually, my question was, do you find parallels? In India also, there are a lot of sub-nationalist movements. Okay, regionalism taking precedence. Okay, so do
Mm.
you find parallels? With the Zionist movement,
With the what movement?
with the
Zionist.
Zionist movement that took place
The
in
Zionist movement.
1890s. Yeah.
No, first of all, the Zionist movement was very rich, and they're like very well funded, and it had very very prominent figures in that. It's like Winston Churchill is one of them, and
Okay.
there are no such level of stalwart figures in India who are supporting that kind of regional thing. They may have the firepower, the military support or ammunition, but they don't have the electoral power. Even though there
Okay.
are some
Yeah.
regional movements, they don't have the support of the people. The communists, they only rule
Yeah.
Kerala, and even in Kerala, they only oppose Congress, not BJP. Even
Yeah. I
though
get it.
communists have
No,
many aspirations.
yeah. No, I'm, for example, taking the case of like Tamil nationalism.
Yeah.
Do you find parallels with the Zionist movement? Yeah. Here, I mean, like, do you find any parallels with that?
No, the DMK never publicly said they want a separate Tamil
No,
Nadu.
not.
Uh,
DMK. DMK.
the
Presently
Dravidian
it is a
movement,
French group, but not the Dravidian movement. We have this. What is?
Tamil nationalist movement,
I mean, like, yeah.
LTT.
Exactly.
Yeah,
LTT.
LTT was fighting in Sri Lanka. It doesn't have anything to do with India for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. But it has this influence in Tamil politics, right?
Yeah,
So
it
we
influences
also
Tamil
have a
politics. They have
party
sympathy.
which, yeah, exactly. We also have a party which is having the same ideology, and they are coming. Trying electorally in Tamil Nadu, but of course, now at present they don't have any say. But
Yeah, that is the
just
problem.
I'm
They
trying
don't
to.
have any electoral power. There is a
Yeah,
movement,
okay, sure.
but in Palestine they have that electoral power. That is the problem. That is where the tipping point
Okay,
happened. If they get the electoral power, then they
okay.
might do something like that here.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can end if everybody's.
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything, Tarun? Anything else?
Yeah, we can like. It would be good if someone just oppose me, someone of very opposite view. That will bring even more points. But it was more of like a lecture. It would be nice.
No,
I
actually, the
have
thing
people who
is,
oppose me, but they are kind of extremists. You can't handle them.
I think Tarun, you can end the recording. We have
Yeah,
something to
yeah.
discuss.
Thank you. We are ending the recording now.